Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, and I believe that the right book at the right time can change lives, and that all readers should read children's literature, especially adults. So that's what we do here on the KidLit Love podcast. We celebrate all things children's literature: picture books, early readers, middle grade, and young adult novels for readers of all ages. In each episode, we'll talk with children's literature authors and discuss their books, their hopes, their dreams for readers, their writing process, and much, much more. Whether you're an adult reading to their inner child or connecting the young readers in your life with fantastic books, you've come to the right place. So grab a notebook to build your TBR, and let's get to today's episode of KidLit Love. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the KidLit Love podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your KidLit loving host, inviting you back for another bookish conversation with a children's literature author. Today, I'm talking with Priya Swaminathan. Priya is here to celebrate her middle grade debut titled DEEPA, MD. It's a heartwarming and funny book about a seventh grader who decides to become a medical detective alongside her doctor uncle as she juggles friendship, family, and middle school when everyone knows her as the girl who has cancer. It's full of fun, medical mystery, and a lot of powerful connections. I can't wait to talk with her all about it, so we're going to get right to the episode. Priya, welcome to KidLit Love. I am so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I'm thrilled to be here.
Middle grade debut. That must be quite the feeling. Feelings, plural feelings, I imagine, going on as you get ready to put your book out into the world. And I would love to hear the journey to it. So tell us a bit about you and the work you do and the road you've taken to your debut.
It does feel wild to finally get the book in front of kids. I have a pretty silly journey that doesn't add up even to me. I made movies for a really long time. I started off as a documentary filmmaker, and then I moved into making narrative films. I did it for almost 20 years, and I had some incredible, amazing opportunities to work on films like Crip Camp, which is a documentary about the disability rights movement, and kids shows like Waffles and Mochi, and a show I'm really proud of called We the People, which is about how our government works for us, for kids. And I think I thought that was going to be the rest of my life. Then the pandemic happened, and it it woke me up
Yeah.
to a lot of things, including this feeling that maybe there was something else that I was meant to do or that I could try to do. And so I quit my job. I had been running a company called Higher Ground for Barack and Michelle Obama, and it was a great, great job. It was a little scary to quit, but I wanted to try two things. I wanted to try writing. I had been really inspired by working on some of the kids programming I got to work on. And I wanted to try something else. So I started writing and I started taking classes to see could my old brain still learn things. And it was hard, honestly, but turns out an old dog can learn some new tricks. And now I am about to graduate from nursing school at UCLA in about a month. I'm really excited. And I want to practice in oncology. I had some amazing experiences during school, including an immersion working with cancer patients that was really, it was just really transformative for me. And, now I want to keep writing. And let's see if I hope I can keep doing that. This feels hopefully like the beginning of something.
Okay, so I knew I was going to love you in our conversation after reading your book, but now knowing that you have gotten here that way, wondered if there was more, quit the job, tried something new, learning something new, like I feel like all of us deep down have some little, voice that sometimes asks those questions and tells us those things, and it's very easy to just put it aside. Oh, we don't have time. Oh, we're too old. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, no. And I always love when I get to meet someone who's like, yeah, yeah, I could. Maybe I could. I feel like, oh, I just feel like it's so inspiring. So, on top of getting the inspiration from this book, I feel like your journey there, like I have the little goosebumps that say, remember, Stephanie, you could do that too, right? So, I feel like you just gave all of us a permission slip to just change gears.
Yeah. I mean, if it, for what it's worth, it took me 10 years. Like I had had this feeling of wanting to do something else, but it's hard, you have momentum in life
Hmm.
and you have a family. I help take care of my parents. Like you just have stuff going on. And there's all, for me personally, I made a lot of excuses to not change. And the pandemic was horrible, but the one thing that I got out of it, one real deep thing I got out of it was having a little time to think like, what do I want the next? I'm 45. Hopefully I live a long time. What do I want the next 45 years to look like? And um, I think that was in some ways a lucky thing that occurred in such a dark time.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's the one positive we can take. I'm sure there's many more, but one big positive I hear, especially here on the podcast, is many authors decided during COVID, why
Hmm,
not let me go for it and let me see what happens.
that's
Wow.
cool. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh. Okay, so Deepa MD, first book. Tell me how you arrived at this particular story as the one that was coming for your debut, and we'll start to give listeners some sneak peeks into the plot and the summary of the book as well.
Yes, well, it's not the first book. I wrote other things
That's very
and
true. Thank you for that
yes,
correction. I've learned that as well. It's like this is book eight, Steph.
yeah. I wrote other things and I still love them and maybe one day they will
Right.
they will emerge into the world. Right for now they live on my computer. But I love medicine and healthcare, and it's where I'm choosing to spend my time now. Um, but I also am like a deep cuts lover of mysteries. And in my life, I grew up, my father is a surgeon, my brother is an ER doctor. So like I grew up in a household where the connection between mysteries and medicine was like very alive for me. You know, my dad used to come home and at the dinner table sort of talk about the clues he encountered that led him to what he did that day. And, the house was full of textbooks with anatomical drawings, and the body was both a source of wonder and mystery. And it still is, like I'm still finding out things about my body that I'm like, how did I not know that? I feel like I'm a grown up and I should know these things. And um, I was really drawn to that, to the fact that like this thing that we live with so closely can be very unknown
Mhm.
to us as adults, as kids, forever. And what the power of maybe like getting to know it
Yeah.
and getting to know that it isn't something constant. You are changing all the time. Like my body, I'm 45. All the women on this podcast know what that means. My
Yeah.
body is changing again, like I'm 13, and
Yep.
uh, it is like horrifying and fascinating.
Yes.
And so I think those things were on my mind, and I really wanted to write in this space. And the other thing that was on my mind is I mentioned this movie Crip Camp that I got to work on, which is about the disability rights movement. And the filmmakers of that movie said something to me, along with Judy Heumann, who has since passed, but was like sort of a seminal figure in the movement, said that everyone at some point in their life will encounter and or be disabled. It's something that is a part of us, even if we don't know it now. And I think that might be true for illness in general. We like want to think about like I'm healthy or I'm sick as a binary, and I'm not sure it is. I think that we may not want to see it, but illness is actually just a part of life. And I was interested in exploring that a little.
Yeah. and you explored it, but within the context of a very engaging, very fast moving, very fun, funny, and I would say very current. Like there's TikTok and there's all sorts of things in here where, this is a story that, yes, is about certain aspects of health in our bodies and when things aren't kind of going the way we want them to, but it is also just it's a middle grade novel and middle grade readers are going to sink in and they're getting that as well. Like I want listeners to know like this is fun. This is a fun book and it's fun for so many reasons. And there's a couple of things that I would love to bring up about like the themes and some of those connections. But I'd love for you to first give us the summary without the spoiler. Like tell listeners who they'll encounter, what they'll encounter, and then I want to pick your brain a little bit about some of those things that I loved.
I'm so glad it made you laugh, Stephanie. Okay, Deepa is about a seventh grader who is recovering from leukemia, and she's back in school after missing a year and kind of like needs a distraction. So she teams up with her uncle, who is this brilliant house call doctor with just the worst bedside manner in history, to solve a medical mystery. And the twist is that her new patient happens to be her bully's older brother. And that case is going to spiral out. Her illness is going to flare up. And ultimately, Deepa has to sort of diagnose not just what's going on with this patient, but what's going on with her
Yeah.
to to solve the case.
Yeah. So the one thing that kept coming into my mind, and it's because of my own personal experience. I'm 48, so I get exactly where you are, and have had my own kind of ups and downs in a health journey. My daughter has had her own ups and downs, and I don't know if like in your nursing school, but there's a term that we have been called, which is a zebra, which is
Mm,
like this anomaly in the healthcare system of we don't know what's wrong with you and we can't figure out what's wrong with you. So we're just going to send you to the next person and
mm,
the next person and the next person. And you end up having to do a lot of this figuring out yourself and taking ownership and responsibility and agency over your own experience. And so as the adult me was reading this thinking, I need uncle. Like that concept. I think that you alluded to before, like things are always changing and always going on, and you actually can have some control and learn and grow. And maybe, that Dr. Google gets a little scary once you get older and you start going in there. But I really loved that frame around it. That yes, we're kids, and yes, our bodies might not be doing what they want in this book, but there was always something that she did or felt like she could control or just put one foot in front of the other to feel better. And I really loved that. As someone who has needed that kind of cheerleading, I loved that about Deepa and really the whole feel of the book did have this powerful positive momentum even in the midst of a lot of the drama that middle grade readers often have. So I
I
just
love
wanted to
that. I
thank
love
you
that
for that.
idea of a zebra, Stephanie. That's really, I haven't heard that. And I think that is in and of itself like a really, really evocative. And it sounds like you have done it. You have had to become a
Yes.
detective. And it's like this huge responsibility. And it's also, I think it can be empowering and very scary. I think when I was a kid, not to go off topic, but when I was a kid, you went to the doctor and the doctor told you what was wrong with you, and you're like, okay, that's what's happening. And we know that that's not actually the best way to care for people, that you need to be involved in your
Yeah.
healthcare. It's your life, your body, your kid's body, and that is like cool. That sounds great, but it also is this huge, it's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. So
Yeah.
I can imagine that you have been through many versions of like the iceberg that is just beginning to be explored in Deepa's life, and that must have been really hard.
Yeah. It was still kind of is. But what I love is that so many of us do that secretly. And there will be a lot of, I think, readers and a lot of perhaps caregivers and parents by default reading this book with their child that I think will just feel a bit of comfort,
Mm.
because she is this medical detective. And we won't give clues away, but things get solved and lives get better and things happen. And in the midst of that are the most fun relationships and antics and things that happen. I just have to say the most wonderful part of the book for me was watching the relationship between Deepa and her uncle. They just, have this beautiful banter back and forth that, to an outsider who might not have inside knowledge of the relationship, it's like, wait, what? What are they saying? And it's wonderful. It's so wonderful and relatable. And that's just one of the relationships. I so enjoyed the connections between the two brothers, right? The uncle and
Mhm.
Deepa's father. You've got mother daughter relationships and how those change when something like an illness comes. And then you have all those friendship connections, the friends, the frenemies, the new friends, the old friends. I just want to kind of pick your brain and ask you about the process of how you manage to really talk about some of those harder things like medical mysteries and what's going on with the body when you don't feel well, but also have this beautiful fun and lightness of the book. Like how did you balance that? How do you balance that? Because it was such a beautiful mix, just like life, right? You hold both things at the same time, and your book just did it so well.
Thank you. I think you said it. That's it. I don't, humor is like the way you get through stuff. I know I have an 11-year-old and she wound up in the hospital after her appendix burst, and it was a long stay because it was complicated, but the highlights of the hospital, I'm going to call them highlights, are when her friends came to visit, and those kids were brave. It was scary. She had a tube in her nose and she had been through something. And when they came to visit and they like played Mario Kart and laughed and made fart jokes, and like that was
Yeah.
the best. Those are the things I really remember,
Yeah.
beside feeling scared, feeling overwhelmed, feeling uncertain. And I think that is like a beautiful part of life, is that those things do live together and I think are really alive in your memory when you live through experiences like this. So, yeah, so I wanted that. I grew up with older brothers, so uncle is 100% channeling being the little sister who had to like, deal with really fun and bossy older siblings who were usually right, even if I didn't want them to be.
Yep.
And so I wanted her world to be like fun, the way I think your world is when you're 11, and I want to be in the seventh grade. It's fun and crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think the goal going into it was to like have that kind of vibe. And then I got, to be honest with you, I got a lot of help. I have an amazing agent who, I think her name's Lily Garamani. When she read the first draft, she saw something in it that she helped pull out. And a lot of it was that comedy and those interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
And then I got really lucky, and I have this amazing editor at Simon and Schuster, Denise Santos, and she did the same thing. She was the one who was like, I want to spend time with her friends. And and so did I. So do
Me
I.
too. Yeah.
So I got a lot of guidance around really bringing out the relationships that make your life full and fun. And I got a lot of encouragement to do that. Even as an adult, I read kids' books and adult books. Like I don't really differentiate between them. I just read the
Yes.
stuff I love to read.
Yep.
And a book that can make you laugh is like the
Yeah.
most wonderful thing.
It is. It is. It's the most beautiful escape and the most beautiful reminder at the same time, of what's possible, and that joy is where you find it, and this fun and this humor is where you find it. And, through all of those connections and all of those characters, as what typically happens from the beginning to the middle and the end of the book. There are, different degrees of transformation and learning and growth that happen among all of them that is part of the reason I love middle grade novels so much is because it's not like a book that is saying, okay, I'm going to teach you this lesson about how to be a good friend. I'm going to teach you this lesson about how to take responsibility for how you feel. It's the story that hooks you in, but by default, you just you just live it with
Mhm.
the characters and the growth that happens among, we've only so far talked about Deepa and her uncle and her mother, but then we've got Lola and we've got the other friends and we've got new friends and we've got the TikTokers and we've got, so many things that to see that transformation across them was just a beautiful thing to watch too. And my own little inner child Stephanie like just wanted to jump in and sign the petition and go to the dance and do all of the things.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And like sometimes I wonder why coming of age is like a thing that you're only allowed to do during a couple years of your life because I'm
Yeah.
not sure it's over for
Yeah,
me.
and only once apparently.
Only once? Yeah. So who only goes through it once? I don't know. But maybe this is the first time you get to do it. And I agree with you. Like, I love coming to these books because no one is supposed to be fully formed.
Right.
You're like expected to be finding something about yourself, to be searching for it. And I
Yeah.
don't know, that's like, it's so deep to get to do that with characters you love.
Yeah. So as you think about these characters, as you think about your first book, at least the first published one, going out into the world, what is your hope for it and your hope for readers who get the chance to read it?
I hope people read it. That's first and foremost. I hope some kids laugh. I want this to be like funny and like something you look forward to, not something you have to do.
Yeah.
Um, and then like maybe my like aspiration is I think this is a book about accepting uncertainty, sort of.
Yeah.
That you can have well-laid plans, you can want things to be a certain way, you can want to be done being sick and on to the next. And you don't always get to control that. Uh, which I think is, I know for me in my own life, like these are uncertain times and learning to navigate through choppy waters and do it with your friends, be able to laugh your way through it. I think for has been part of my own lived experience. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that may be maybe the way that life is for a lot of us.
Yeah.
So I hope that some kids who read the book will feel like seen.
Hmm. And I think the other beautiful part is that other kids get to see, right? You have both sides here. No matter which you're coming from. Like there's a place for every reader in here, whatever hooks them in. And then, like I said, that deeper meaning that's there just it just soaks in. It just soaks in. And I loved it. I loved it. I can't wait for listeners to go grab this one. It's just beautiful. I'm so excited to
Thank
be able
you.
to celebrate it with you as you launch it out into the world. Now, we talked about this one, but I always love to ask authors if there anything that they're currently working on or might be coming in the future that you could also give us a little teaser for before we end.
Hmm. Yes, I'm really lucky. There is going to be another Deepa book coming out next year.
This makes me so
Uh,
happy
yeah, second
because
in the
I did
series.
not
I'm
know
so excited about too.
this at all.
And she gets to solve another mystery with her uncle. She gets to go really much deeper with her friends. Like I got the opportunity to just dive deep into some of her fun friend relationships and the fun of like coming to the end of the year at school. So there's a lot to be had, and hopefully everybody will be able to pick up a copy next year.
That's exciting. I'm really excited for that. Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't, and I did not know that a book was coming at all. So that makes me so happy. Where is the best place for people to find you online so that they can keep up with you, connect with you, and stay in touch for when that next book does come?
Um, I have a website. It's my first and last name, priyaswaminathan.com. And I'm on Instagram. My handle is Priya Surprise. And I am most excited about, besides graduating from school, which can't wait, um, I'm most excited about getting into schools and getting to read for kids and
Yeah.
spend time with them and like chat. So if you are interested in having a first-time author come and hang out and share the book and um, talk about like non-traditional ways to get into healthcare or just like, crack some good fart jokes. I am your girl. And like, I would love to do that. That's the thing that I dream about most.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also like on your radar or horizon could be something where you work with people like me who are so inspired by your pivot that you could help us all give our permission, give permission slips for us to do that. Just really like Deepa finds her way and you found your way. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. I really loved it.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie. I'm so thrilled to be here.
So, listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of KidLit Love, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the KidLit Love podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. You'll also find KidLit Love on Substack. That's where you'll find posts for each episode, monthly KidLit roundups, and an invitation to join my summer book club and go deeper into the world of children's literature. And if you loved this podcast and want more, you might like to listen to my other podcast called Get Literate. It's a podcast that explores all things books and reading, notebooks and writing to build a life you love. One more thing. If you loved what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish community of Kid Lit Love. Thanks for listening.